Welcome to the Weather Insights Tropical Briefing. I'm meteorologist Scott Pitney along with meteorologist Jeff Lindner. And this is Sunday, June 8th, 2025. And all the action right now, Jeff, is in the Pacific. We got Cosme, newly formed Cosme, Tropical Storm Cosme, and Tropical Storm Barbara. Barbara expected to become a hurricane in the next day or two. We'll take a look at the tracks in just a second. And then we have Disturbance 1 with a 50% chance of development in the next 7 days. And I think what's interesting about these three systems, Jeff, one, they're so close together. And two, just last week when you were going over the ensemble models for that area, we were seeing some pretty strong signals. So that seems to be verifying for that area. But the Atlantic, nice and quiet, a lot of dust out there, nothing really to get anything going. But again, we're just at the beginning of the season. And then there is the satellite image. Nothing too impressive with these storms, nothing too organized looking right now, but that could change over the next day or so as we keep an eye on as they make the track to the northwest. And of course, when hurricanes are in the Pacific or tropical cyclones in the Pacific, everybody is wanting to know, is it going to hit Mexico? And you can see the track right here, expected to become a hurricane. This is Tropical Storm Barbara, expected to become a hurricane by Monday morning and then quickly dissipating to a tropical storm and depression by the end of the week. So that's the story right now. Nothing affecting the Mexican coastline, and that's good news. And also good news that the Atlantic is quiet right now. But as we know, that could change at any time.
Yeah, so you can see here on the satellite, it's a little rare to get two tropical systems in the East Pac, so close together this early in the season. These, are not very far apart. Both tropical storms, and we'll see if they have some interaction with their outflow potentially here, impacting each other on the intensity forecast as we go forward. But it's pretty much been the Eastern Pacific show ever since the start of June. The Atlantic continues to look unfavorable for development. We've the action continues to be down here in this kind of trough axis that's off the southern Mexican coast, and there's been hints at times of this maybe attempting to lift northward into Central America and the very southern Gulf of Mexico or the very southwestern portion of the Caribbean Sea, and potentially see some tropical development on the Atlantic side here. But thus far, that hasn't happened. And if we look at the ensembles going out 7 days, so this is for next Sunday around noon, the 15th around noon. You can see again a big clustering here of ensembles off the southern coast of Mexico, suggestive
Mhm.
of potentially another tropical system that could develop out here. Kind of in this kind of breeding area that we've seen over the last 2 weeks. And there is a little bit of the GFS has continued to show this tropical system forming in the Western Caribbean. It continues to do it. It's done it now for 3 weeks straight almost. But it always keeps pushing it back in time, and so that's the first hint that it's probably something that deserves a little bit of skepticism in the model. And even here on the ensembles, you can see there is some hint here in the Western Caribbean, but again, this is not a very strong signal. And if you look at the European, it has really no signal at all here in the Caribbean. And so we continue to see this. The GFS continues to spit out these phantom tropical systems here in the southern Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean, which it tends to sometimes do this time of year. And the European and Canadian remain very quiet. So until we start to see something else on somewhere else, a little bit on the European or the Canadian, we're just going to continue to write off the GFS. There have been some hints at times in both the Canadian and the European, maybe down here in the southern or southwest Gulf, may potentially be somewhere to watch as we get into around the third week of June. We'll just have to see. And maybe this pattern here on the coast of southern Mexico begins to break down. What's actually a little bit interesting, if you look back at the satellite image, there is a fairly robust tropical wave
Yeah.
here in the Western Caribbean. And
Hmm.
so obviously this is going to move into Central America and be done with. But
Yeah.
there was a fairly impressive blow up of thunderstorm activity there with that. But really, I think we're going to continue at least through the next 5 days. There's no imminent develop of anything down here, but this is kind of historically a place we keep an eye on this time of year on both the obviously the Eastern Pacific side and also the Atlantic here in the Southern Gulf and the Western Caribbean. Switching subjects really quick, away from the tropics into the mid latitudes. I mean, it's early June. And
Yeah.
typically, this is when our severe weather in the southern plains begins to kind of wind down.
Hmm.
But we're looking at a really significant event tonight, this evening and tonight here across north central Texas into North Texas and the Red River Valley. We have a level four, a moderate risk, a level 4 out of 5 severe weather risk, and then a very large level 3 out of 5 and enhanced here in the orange. For big severe weather tonight, this is really looking like it's going to be a big convective wind event. Potentially here looking at the formation of a derecho somewhere here in northwest Texas that then sweeps very quickly east, southeast, and southeast in toward the Metroplex as we get toward midnight and then kind of fizzles out or blows out as it goes over toward the Louisiana border. But this could be a significant corridor here of wind damage. And, if you start looking at some of these probabilities here from the Storm Prediction Center, 45 to almost 60% chance of severe thunderstorm winds here across North Texas in the purple. And the hatched area here, this kind of hatched area, is a 10% chance or greater than 10% chance of winds of 74 miles per hour or greater. So we're talking the potential here for hurricane force winds. It's not all that often that you really forecast a derecho here in the southern plains and in Texas. It's much more common in the northern plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, in the Northeast
Hmm.
United States. But this is a pretty, uh, very well set up situation here for a big complex of storms. And this is the visible satellite image. You can see these storms now firing here. These are the storms here firing here in the eastern Texas Panhandle. The big right now they're blowing up as big supercells, so they're individual storms popping up on the dry line. You can see this kind of line of clouds right here, the dry line. And these are going to form up quickly into a line and then race southeast tonight. And so you're talking storms nearing Amarillo now, potentially into the Metroplex down here, mid to late evening. And so that forward motion is going to really enhance that damaging wind threat. And it would not surprise me at all if we see some widespread power outages and extended power outages that could go, multi days here across north central and north Texas if we really get this Boeing derecho coming at us. You see all this clear sky here, strong heating taking place, temperatures going up into the 80s and 90s behind this old outflow boundary down here. There's a lot of things going on in the satellite. Interestingly enough, this is last night's complex of storms, and you can see this outflow boundary here kind of
Yeah.
sagging southwest, may get over towards our northern counties a little bit later. And this is sort of the pattern change. So if you kind of use your imagination here, you see all the thunderstorms kind of ringing around, kind of in a upside down C pattern.
Hmm.
This is this mid-level ridge that's sitting down here over South Texas. You can see there's just a lack of clouds, no vertical development down here at all. And this ridge is going to push back and retrograde back west. And so this is going to put us in the line as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and especially Wednesday and Thursday for these disturbances to come down and rotate through southeast Texas. And so our rain chances are going up. We'll have to see how this plays out. Is this more of a big complex of storms type event where we get a big complex forming up here in New Mexico, West Texas, and then it comes roaring down in the overnight early morning hours? Or do we get storms, complexes out here that kind of fizzle out and send their outflow boundaries in here during the afternoon? And I think that the pattern here going forward this week is going to be much more active than what we've been seeing. And for June, this is a kind of it's not a rare pattern for June, but it's one of the patterns. If you don't like the heat and the drought, this is the pattern you want to be in. And if we look at the next week or so, we're kind of stuck in a wet pattern here in Texas. So this is really going to help, hopefully, out here in the hill country where we still desperately need rainfall, beat back on the drought some, and at least keep a lot of us from getting too hot. We're talking potentially highs this week only right around 90 Wednesday and Thursday, which is actually a little bit below normal for this time of year. So
Yeah.
we'll take
Welcome
what we can
temperatures
get.
Yeah, welcome temperatures, welcome rainfall for especially for June. And yeah, we're recording this right at 4:30 and already have a couple of those discrete cells are tornado warned and quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings up in that area. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. It's a very large area, as you pointed out, and kind of unusual, like you said, Jeff, to get a derecho this far south in this time of year. So be interesting to see how that unfolds, and yeah, it'd be nice to see the rain. Just a reminder that you might want to check out our Weather Insights website. We've made some updates and we have some real-time data on there. Also, check out Jeff's blog on there. We also have daily forecasts, so there's some good information there. And keep it right here on our Weather Insights YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications on, and we'll keep you informed of what's going on in the tropics this hurricane season. Jeff, thank you very much.